Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 11-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings. Before we get into it, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, I would greatly appreciate that. YouTube continues to tell me that about 60% of my audience is not subscribed, so if that's you and you enjoy this content, if you take 1 second to hit that subscribe button, that would be awesome. And if you are getting very serious about NBA DFS, I do offer some further in-depth content with things like tools, spreadsheets, all of that stuff to help you win some money in NBA DFS, premium NBA projections, NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play context stats, core plays, injury impact insights, and my NBA Discord chat access. So go ahead and check that out. Link below in the description. Very affordable price, much more affordable than around the industry. It offers everything that everyone else offers in these bigger sites. Cheaper, and you can use these tools to really start to leverage and win some money in these tournaments, cash games, whatever you're playing in NBA DFS. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. First game on the slate, we got Brooklyn taking on Detroit. This game right now comes in with a 224 over-under with a 5.5 point spread in favor of the Brooklyn Nets. Right now, we do have some injury designations that are some concerns. DeLon Wright recently, he's listed as questionable. He was traded to the Sacramento Kings, so it's going to be interesting to see how DraftKings handles the player pool and getting those people out, because that'll be confusing to some maybe that if he's in the player pool. But anyways, he's no longer on the Detroit Pistons, so we have to keep that in mind. James Harden is listed as questionable in this one. He missed Friday's game, and it'll be interesting to see if he comes back in this one. If he does, he's going to be the top play on the slate, arguably, because there is no Kevin Durant, there is no Kyrie Irving, so his usage is just going to be through the roof. I would expect him to be back in this one. I feel like he just needed 1 game off, but just keep an eye on that one. If he's out, we're going to continue to target guys like Joe Harris, Bruce Brown. Blake Griffin will be back in this one, so I wouldn't have any issues with you playing him, because these are guys that are really going to see a bump up in usage in this one. So, all of these different guys. Elias Johnson played 33 minutes and put up 51 DraftKings points in the last game, so he's a new guy to keep on your radar. 10-day contract and just went off, so that'll be an interesting one to monitor. 51.25 DraftKings points, that's ridiculous. And yeah, then you got Nicholas Claxton down here at 4.5, so you get the point. If there is no James Harden this one, all of those are going to get a bump in usage. On the Detroit side, with no more DeLon Wright, we should see some more usage and opportunity out of some guards, guys like Josh Jackson, even a wing like Sadiq Bey. I would expect him to get more minutes, more usage, with there being no DeLon right now. And the same rule is going to apply down here to a guy like a Diallo if he's able to finally make his debut. And yeah, it looks like he's going to be actually returning this one, so expect him to play. And then but he's going to be on a minutes limit, so probably not playing him. Anyways, that's the first game on the slate. Next game, Phoenix taking on Toronto. Right now, this game comes in with a 224 over-under with a 4.5 point spread in favor of the Phoenix Suns. Expect this to stay close. Expect it to be a somewhat fairly decently paced game. The Toronto side, there is no more Norman Powell on their squad, so once again, we do have another guy that's been traded that's going to open up some more usage for other guys in the team. So guys like Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby are just going to be even better plays. And I do think that we could see Chris Boucher sneak into the rotation a little more than he was before, with there being no more Norman Powell. Whether that's enough to make him a viable play, I'm not sure. But I do know for one thing for sure, it's Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam. These 4 guys are going to get a ton of minutes, going to be viable plays every single time out. The only problem in this one is the matchup. Phoenix has been very good defensively, so I have a hard time believing like all of these guys are going to get there for you as far as tournament winning upside. So probably picking 1 or 2 of these guys to play in my lineups and moving on with it. On the Phoenix side, my favorite options would be Chris Paul, Devin Booker at the top, of course, but Chris Paul would be my favorite one if I'm picking between the two, honestly. I just think he has more on-ball, heavy-duty responsibilities, but it is very close, especially now that they're priced up. Chris Paul was priced at a discount to Devin Booker for so long now that I'm used to saying just play Chris Paul, but now we have a little bit of a different ball game to deal with. Mikal Bridges is listed as questionable. If he's out, we could look to see more minutes for Jay Crowder or Dario Saric. However, he is listed as probable, so I would not expect him to be out in this one. Boston taking on Milwaukee. This game right now comes in with a 233 over-under with a 5.5 point spread in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. We just saw this game the other night. Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, priced in A3, A2 in the mid-range on the Milwaukee side are the most appropriately priced that can really get you there at their price tag. 7.6 and 8K with the last two games for Chris Middleton. He's put up 45 and 49 DraftKings points, so he'd be very happy with that as his price tag. And then Drew Holiday at 7.2. Same rule applies to him. Had a bad game last game out, but he can bounce back and definitely put up a big score in this one. Then you're looking to Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's a pay-up option, of course. It's 10-7. Put up a dud last time, only putting up 35 DraftKings points. So just know you're paying up a lot for him. You need him to get you like 60 DraftKings points to pay off at that price tag. And whether he gets you there or not is probably going to be dependent upon the performance that Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday put up. So it's either going to be these two guys doing well or Giannis doing well and kind of taking over the touches there. On the Boston side, they did acquire Evan Fournier, but I don't think he's going to be good to go in this one, so that's not anything to worry about. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown at the top, priced up for good reason. These guys are the top two guys on the team. As far as who I would be leaning, I have been leaning towards Jaylen Brown recently just because of the slight discount and the similar upside. And then as we move along here, you got Kemba Walker, Robert Williams. There is no more Daniel Tice on this team, so I do think that could really benefit Robert Williams, a guy that's a very good fantasy point per minute producer at 6'4". I think it might be a good time to jump on him now because his expected upside should be a lot higher than it was previously when he was battling with minutes with Daniel Tice. So I do like him a lot more than I did before. So keep that in mind when building your lineups. And lastly, Kemba Walker at 6'7". A guy that's the point guard on this team, in the mid 6K range. I have no issues with playing him with his amount of upside in this one. Miami taking on Charlotte. This game right now comes in with a 216.5 over-under with a 3-point spread in favor of the Miami Heat. So I can tell you right now that I'm not going to have a lot of interest in this game. It's going to be very slow-paced. If Jimmy Butler, Kelly Olynyk has been traded, Goran Dragic continues to be out, then of course we're going to kind of have to have a little bit of interest on the Miami side of things, just not on the Charlotte side. We'd be playing guys like Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and Kendrick Nunn. Those guys just become very underpriced for their roles. Putting up big games last night, you got to keep in mind they had a much better matchup against that Portland squad, though. But same rules still going to apply. These guys are going to get lots of shots, lots of volume, lots of responsibility. So I would have no issues with playing the trio of Nunn, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Hero if those guys are indeed still out. On the Charlotte side, I'm not all too interested with the slow-paced game, and it's a tough matchup. Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier are typically the ones I'd be targeting. PJ Washington, these guys are all priced up for their new roles, and they get a tough matchup, so I think there are some other spots in the slate that we could target. Portland taking on Orlando. This game right now comes in with a 219 over-under with an 11.5 point spread in favor of the Portland Trailblazers. The Magic just traded their entire team, and Portland is expected to win this one very easily for good reason. Terrence Ross is listed as questionable in this one. If he is in, he becomes a great play. He's priced all the way up to 7.5, and that's because he's going to be the main guy on the team now. If he's out, all of these guys on the Orlando side are going to be viable plays tonight, to be honest with you. Michael Carter-Williams, James Ennis, Okiki, you got Dwayne Bacon, Mo Bamba. I think Mo Bamba is the most obvious one to get really excited about at 4.8. Mo Bamba, a very good fantasy point per minute producer. There is no longer Nikola Vucevic. I think that we could see him get some increased run, and if he does, he's going to be an absolute fantasy beast. So I am excited about Mo Bamba for sure, especially if we find out he's getting the start. And even if he's not getting the start, to be honest with you, I mean, I expect he's going to have to get those minutes he wasn't getting before, and he's just going to go off at his price tag. So take advantage while you can. Dwayne Bacon at 4.8. Same rule applies to him. If all these guys are out, I like both those guys at their respective price tags. You can play a Randall at 4.1. Chase on Randall as well. So all of these guys are going to be viable plays. Gary Clark got sent off as well. So on the Portland side, CJ McCollum at 7.7 continues to see full minutes now. He's been back for a while, 38 minutes or so at 7.7. I do think that he's still a little bit too inexpensive. Damian Lillard at 10.2 I think is a little too priced up for there being CJ McCollum now in the lineup. So that's the approach I would take there. Probably playing CJ, not playing Dame Lillard. Just based on price tags. And it's not that I think Dame's going to have a bad game, but I'd rather play CJ McCollum. And then anyone else on the Portland side, I mean, Enes Kanter, Robert Covington, sure, go ahead and play these guys. Carmelo Anthony at 5.5. Carmelo, I do think it's a little bit of an increase in usage in minutes pretty consistently here after trading away Rodney Hood and Gary Trent Jr. until we see Norman Powell join the team. I do think that Carmelo is a very good play at 5.5, so definitely be playing some Carmelo. Denver taking on New Orleans. This game right now comes in with a 231 over-under. I think this game is going to be a tremendous fantasy environment, and I am going to have a lot of interest, especially in Nikola Jokic at 10.6. This guy's been an absolute fantasy point per minute beast, putting up 74, 71, 64 DraftKings points 3 of the last 4 games. Last time out in a blowout against Toronto, only put up 41 DraftKings points, but I think we can bounce back in this one against this New Orleans squad. Nikola Jokic is probably my top priority on the slate because I think that the upside is just going to be ridiculous. Anyone else on the Denver side? Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., all these guys I'm going to continue to like. There is no Aaron Gordon joining the team yet, so Jamal Murray, Michael Porter, Will Barton, these guys are all the ones you're really looking to lock into your lineups, and I'm definitely going to like all these guys tonight. In this game environment, fast, up-tempo, you got to like them. And then on the New Orleans side, if there continues to be no Lonzo Ball, Nickeil Alexander-Walker should continue to start, and he's a great play. If Lonzo Ball's in, I think Lonzo Ball's a great play, and then you got Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram as pay-up options, which I have no issue with paying up for in this particular game. These guys could have very big games. Definitely have a lot of interest in them. And then, as mentioned, Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Josh Hart as well would become much more viable plays if there is no Lonzo Ball in this one. Guys have been priced up, but for good reason. You look at Josh Hart's game logs, 34 and 38 DraftKings points, and Josh Hart literally scored 2 real-life points last time out, still put up 38 DraftKings points. Very good rebounder as a wing, and that's the things you got to keep in mind. Like, even if he can't score, he's still got you there. So imagine if he put up like 10 real-life points. You're looking at like a 60 fantasy point game possibly from Josh Hart, 50 fantasy point game or so, So definitely have interest in those guys. Moving further along, Houston taking on Minnesota. This game right now comes in with a 225.5 over-under with a 3.5 point spread in favor of the Minnesota Timberwolves. As far as what's going on in this one, the Houston Rockets have traded away Victor Oladipo. Kevin Porter Jr. continues to be listed as questionable. There is no Eric Gordon as well. There is no David Nwaba as well. So if everything stands as now, with there being no Kevin Porter Jr., he is listed as questionable. If he comes back, I'm going to like him a ton if he is a full go. But as of now, John Wall and Christian Wood are absolute tremendous plays at their respective price tags. Last time being involved in a blowout didn't quite get you there. Both these guys, I'd expect their usage to take a real big climb with there being no more Victor Oladipo, and especially Christian Wood. 2 blowouts the last 2 times out. This guy's going to go off eventually. Very good fantasy point per minute producer. Anyone that's been playing NBA DFS for quite some time knows that Christian Wood's the real deal when it comes to fantasy. So I have a lot of interest in Christian Wood, especially in this matchup against Karl-Anthony Towns. On the other side, it's Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. So I feel really confident in the 2 pay-up options for both of these sides. And yeah, that's pretty much, I would feel great playing all 4 of these guys in one lineup and just capturing all the upside of this game. And all these other guys like Ricky Rubio, Jayshawn Tate, and all this stuff are viable options as well as salary relief guys. Just not quite as confident in them. They're priced down, so they can get there easier for you if they're having a good game, but usage isn't going to be quite as high as the top 4 guys we talked about to start this game off. And I really do like those top 4 guys, so be prioritizing them in your lineups. Indiana taking on Dallas. This game right now comes in with a 227 over-under with a 4.5 point spread in favor of the Dallas Mavericks. Right now, this game is expected to be, someone fairly decently paced. Expect this to stay close. TJ Warren has been declared as being out for the season. There is no James Johnson. There is no Willie Cauley-Stein. There is no Wes Iwundu. So as far as who that's going to impact, I do think that we could see some more minutes out of a guy like a Dwight Powell in this one at 3A. Whether he's a viable player or not is a whole different story. He did see 19 minutes last time out and put up 33 DraftKings points. However, he was taking on the likes of the Minnesota Timberwolves, which is a very friendly matchup, and that game did turn into a blowout, which I think gave him some even more run. So primarily, I think it's just Maxi Kleber you're looking to at 4.6. I think he's going to get the most run, playing consistently like 30 minutes a game. Priced up at 4.6, but that's not even that priced up for the amount of minutes he's getting. And then, of course, at the top, you got Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis in this one. I would tend to play Luka and not play Kristaps. Kristaps had a big game last time out, but he did take on that Minnesota squad that I keep mentioning is a very friendly matchup because it is. So I'd rather be playing Luka in this one personally. On the Indiana side, you can continue to play Karis LeVert at 7-1. The only problem is Malcolm Brogdon was out for a little bit of stretch there. I think we saw his usage kind of take a climb with that being the case. But, I mean, recently he has been taking over the role kind of over Malcolm Brogdon. So, Karis LeVert, Malcolm Brogdon, I probably would only be playing one of those guys in my lineups, deciding which one I like the most and playing one or alternating them in my lineups. Domantas Sabonis, I do not think is impacted as much through those guys. I think I can continue to play him and feel pretty good about it. Hasn't had a big game recently, but it's against Dallas, a very good matchup. I do think that he could do so. And then you got Tim Hardaway Jr. and Miles Turner rounding things out. Tim Hardaway Jr. continues to see his minutes climb up towards the more 30-minute mark or so in close games, so I'm going to continue to like him as well. And yeah, that's what I'd be looking to in this one. Memphis taking on Utah. This game right now comes in with a 226 over-under with a 10-point spread in favor of the Utah Jazz. Utah expected to win this one very easily. They're very good defensively, so I'm not really all too interested in anyone on the Memphis side, to be honest with you. And I'm not going to have that much interest on the Utah side, just strictly because game's expected to blow out. And to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised at the over-under. I would think it would be lower. I just don't think these teams can really score a bunch, but you got to trust Vegas. They're good at what they do, so always rely on those Vegas lines. Rudy Gobert at 8-3. And Donovan Mitchell at 8-9. You can be playing, I guess. But like I said, they're priced up. Kind of scary for me to be going there. I'd probably rather play the cheap guys like a Mike Conley, a Joe Ingles, a Jordan Clarkson down here that are consistently getting a decent amount of run. And yeah, that would be my approach to this game, honestly. Not really trying to go to any of the pay-up options. And then on the Memphis side, if I'm playing anyone, it's going to be probably a shooter. If these guys get down, of course, John Morant, Jonas Valanciunas, but probably like Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson, I'd have more interest in just because they're cheaper. And I think that they can get to their price tags at a much easier rate than those guys that are priced up. So, Dylan Brooks, if you've been watching my content for quite some time, you know I like to play him. I just think he's a great tournament play. When he gets hot, he can get you like 50 points. He's always priced in the mid 5K range. He can go out there and like score you 10 points, and it sucks when that happens, but that's what you're looking for in tournaments. You're looking for guys that are underpriced that can really go out there and put up a big game, and Dylan Brooks is your guy when it comes to that, so you should know what you're getting with him. Atlanta taking on Golden State. This game right now comes in with a 220 over-under with a 6-point spread in favor of the Atlanta Hawks. As far as who I'm looking to play in this one, if Draymond Green continues to be out, we could definitely be playing some Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole, Kelly Oubre. All these guys should see a bump up in usage. Specifically, Andrew Wiggins, 6'9", had a big game last night, putting up 46 DraftKings points. So I'm going to continue to play him. Jordan Poole, Kelly Oubre, same rule applies. Jordan Poole not having quite as big as a game last night, and the same rule applies to Kelly Oubre. Just not really getting the job done against Sacramento, one of the best possible matchups you could have. So that's a little surprising, but honestly, Atlanta's just as good as a matchup, so I'd expect them, continue to target them. And then you got Bogdan Bogdanovic at 4'6" on the Atlanta side. Continues to see his minutes climb. He played 32 minutes last time out, put up 34 DraftKings points, so you got to like him. And, I mean, Trae Young's the most obvious pay-up option on the Atlanta side at 9-1. He's the guy that's going to get the most usage. He can shoot the 3-ball. Obviously, you like him, but Clint Capella and John Collins being back, I do think that they kind of cut into each other's usage and rebounding upside. If I'm picking one, I'm playing Clint Capella just based upon the fact that he's the true center. I think that John Collins oftentimes gets pushed off to the side. You're really relying on him to be shooting the ball really well, which I don't like to rely on when it comes to my fantasy point upside. And then, of course, Juan Toscano-Anderson at 3'8". If he continues to start with there being no Draymond Green, he is a viable option as well. And yeah, last game on the slate, Cleveland taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. This one should be pretty ugly is what I'm guessing. Game comes in with a 213.5 over-under with a 5-point spread in favor of the Los Angeles Lakers. Expected to be very slow paced. I mean, on the bright side, that's the game's expected to stay close. You got Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, Dennis Schroeder really taking on heavy roles with there being no LeBron James, but they are priced up for their roles now, and like I said, it's a slow-paced game, so I tend to think they're not going to quite have the tournament-winning upside that you're looking for in this game, unfortunately. I mean, I would have no issues with playing like one of these guys. Dennis Schroeder last night playing 39 minutes, putting up 44 DraftKings points. Big game out of him, taking on the point guard duties, so maybe playing a Dennis Schroeder I wouldn't have an issue with, but not trying to go too crazy. Then you got Darius Garland, Larry Nance Jr. If there is no Colin Sexton, these are the guys that are going to really see the bump in usage. And the Lakers are a little bit less of a defensive threat, with there being no Anthony Davis, being no LeBron James. But they still have some pretty good wing defenders, guys like Kentavious Caldwell Pope, Wesley Matthews. Dennis Schroeder's a decent on-ball defender, just not exactly the tallest guy, so you have a size matchup oftentimes with him. But and yeah, that is my overall breakdown of this 11-game slate. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my lock of the night. Let's get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Mo Bamba at this 4.8 price tag, taking on this Portland squad that has not been good defensively all year long, and the Orlando Magic just shipped off their whole team. No more Nikola Vucevic. I think that Mo Bamba is going to have to play some major minutes. We're going to finally see it. And this guy is putting up 1.18 DK points per minute. Gets to take on the Portland Trail Blazers, who I mentioned are a great matchup. 26th against the center position, 23rd overall defensively. Not worried about them slowing down Mo Bamba, and I'm going to absolutely love him. Jump on him while you can, because his 40 price tag is only going to climb. Mo Bamba is my lock of the night. So there you have it, guys. Mo Bamba, get him in your lineups, and that is all for me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, I would greatly appreciate that. And then don't forget to check out all of my KJK DFS links, linked below in the description. I wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.